see, we're live. I think we're live. Yep. Looks like we've got people turning up. That's a good sign. Good sign that I'm not completely dead. Pleased to see that. Alright, first thing I've got to do is I've just got to close up a laptop that I've got to ship out tomorrow. Do this before I forget, because you know what I'm like. I am Mr. Forgetful. So let's go to the overhead. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, now you show it all nice and dark? Blimey heck. It's another piece of software I've got to work on. An intelligent brightness controller. It's hopefully Jim will turn up. Santa Jim. Okay. Just get the sticker off here because it really doesn't need to stay in there. Let's just see if I've missed it. I've got one screw to go there. Let's undo this. Hey, Uncode, David, Crazy, Barry. It's getting to the point now where listing off the people attending these streams is getting to be a bit of a protracted process. And hey, Ted Barry, have you made any progress with TMC? TMC, what's TMC? I feel stupid now because I don't know what TMC is. TMC, the motherless so-and-sos? I don't know. News the cat. Yeah. Oh, the USB TMC. Okay, yeah. Now, with regards to that, it ended up I didn't actually. It isn't TMC. That's a hilarious thing. The TMC that I saw when I was looking was actually the power supply that I have, which is a USB TMC. Right. I just need some red tape. Yeah, David, I struggled quite a bit to get to sleep. In fact, basically I didn't get to sleep. I just sort of violently tossed and turned in bed until around about, I think it was about 7:30, and I essentially gave up and said, that's it, just got up and started my day. It was just one of those things where you know you're not going to get that sleep that you want. And those wondering, yes, this is Tessa tape. Hey, Riston UK. Tom Love's here. And Sodderbridge is here. Sodderbridge is always here. We've just put down some Captain tape to hold on this somewhat meaningless shroud. Okay, why is there a battery screw there? There are battery screws there because there's battery screws missing. Wow, I'm really... No, I'm being dangerous here. I'm screwing into the MacBook while it's still technically operational. It's plugged in. It's a bit risky. Hey, Pedro. Did you go out and about today, Pedro? Collect any more victims? MacBook victims? Spend their time in your MacBook harem? Hey, Pianov, how's it going? You don't keep an eye on me, Sodderbridge, you just taunt me. There's a significant difference between a caring eye and a taunting heckler. So Pedro, you sold 1278. 3115 or wait, 1278. Oh yeah, 3115, 2936. Which one? And Jim's here. Welcome, Jim. Santa Jim. I'll just finish doing this. By the way, Pedro, this is that 11-inch laptop that you and I know about. I've been doing tests and everything, and it seems to be all good now. And I sent a voice test off to the recipient. Hopefully they'll let me know whether they think it's okay or not. Okay. Just making sure this thing boots up before I put it into the slot. Okay, it's all good. 100% charge. Excellent. 2879. What? Don't know what the 2879. Have you heard anything from Jason? He is off on a road trip right now. That's why you won't be hearing much from him. Honestly, I don't know why the guy does it. It's like every year he does it, or seems like every year he does a road trip. And he gets back and says, I'm never doing that again. I don't want to do that again for at least several years. And then 6 months or 12 months later, he's doing another road trip. Usually heading off to Minnesota or something like that. Alrighty. Okay, let's have a look. Right, so today, Jim sent me one of these. So these, it's obviously in response to the fact that I've been having seriously crappy audio issues with my own module, this one here, which we've only just finally sorted out, naturally of course, after Jim had sent this. But now this one here, as you know, we've had some dramas, but it looks like it was just an RF quality issue. I might be able to fix it up, I don't know, but for now I'm still perfectly good with this, and the headset makes it very very good for cutting or improving the signal to noise ratio when I'm dealing with the extractor and things like that. And of course, this is a 3-pin mini XLR connector as well. Anyway, so that's good. But one thing I do often need is when I'm out and about with other cameras, I need something else, and this will not work because they will not have USB. So what we've got here is these very damn cute Rode wireless units. It's essentially the same sort of concept, but interestingly, I didn't realize until Australia today that Rode is actually Australian manufactured. Yes, Jim is very naughty for sending this. He really should be investing his coins in something like Ripple or Doge coins. So as far as I haven't actually used these yet, I haven't had a good sort of point to utilize it. But this looks like the transmitter unit. So you got a microphone. You got these, I don't know, what are these, bunny tails? Very cute. And they got a foam insert in there, and I imagine you just can clip that in, and so it looks like it's for good luck, rabbit foot. So it's got an integrated microphone, and then you can plug in a 3.5mm microphone as well if you want. And they charge through a USB-C, and they've got a very nice grippy clip on the back. I wish that the one I'm wearing had a nice grippy clip like this instead of just the metal one that I've got. So you just hold the button down, the power up. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And then you've got the receiver side of it, and that's even more cool. And it's also got a 3.5mm output, so you can go 3.5 in at this end, 3.5 out on this end. So it's kind of like a virtual wire These are very slick units, and you can actually see, I'll get the, so can you actually see that? You can see that it's also, you can see that it's also gone flat, maybe. So it gives you the VU meter. I think it looks like it's dB. I'm not sure what all the buttons do. But it actually also shows the receiver battery condition, the transmitter battery condition, the signal. So very sophisticated little bit of gear. And I think I'll be using this when I get myself one of a new sort of like a, what do you call them? Like that camera that we had before. Where is it? Which was also from Santa Jim. Yeah, when I get myself something like this, then we can use, let's see, it'll be, you can put the receiver side of it onto the hot shoe and then feed it in using the coiled signal cable, and that way then you can move away from the camera and you'll have a much better quality reception. So that's my plan for where I'm going to be using this. It's almost too delicate and nice to be using in this rough and tough workshop. So it won't be able to, so it's a bit of a disappointment that I can't use it right away, but it's definitely going to be sitting there ready for when I get myself probably I'll get a 4K 60 frame per second camera or something like that. But that'll have to come after the house. I just find it so amusing that they've got these windshield bunny tails or whatever. Yeah, they put a lot of thought into it. And it's all the more impressive that this is all done in Australia. So they're actually manufactured in Australia. That's brilliant. So in future I'll be getting more road gear. So I'll stick this in here. Put that in a safe place. They certainly look like very nicely done units. You know, the quality of the feel and everything is much nicer than this thing here. I did take off this metal bracket tonight too, by the way, and I've bent it down a little more, so hopefully it sticks in my pocket a bit longer rather than falling out and then ripping my ears out. Alright, let's see, get rid of the stickers off this. And the other news today is that I sat down, did some coding, and got the multimeter up and running. Now I don't know, I can't remember the state of affairs last night, but essentially the trouble with this multimeter, the new GW Instech one, is that as soon as you start communicating with it via the USB port or the communication port, it locks the front panel. Now I know why they do that, but I wish they would give you the option to be able to disable that feature, as it were. So anyway, I ended up cutting some code, and we now have an operational multimeter. And the nice thing is, because I can't use the front panel, I made it so that I could do a global key capture. And so like now if I say when I switch to voltage mode, I can just go, and then it switches over to volts, and diode mode, and continuity mode, and Paul's dragged it off the, oops, wrong one. There we go. So what are we, diode, continuity, and then back to volts. And so that lets me switch between all the modes that I'm going to need, but also still keep communicating with it. How about the beat volume? I can't do anything about that. I have checked. There is no option to increase the beat volume. The only way I can do that is to either replace the beeper in it, which I won't be doing at this point. I'll wait till the warranties run out. But it depends. If the fume extractor is not running, it's not too bad. So like if I switch into continuity mode, yeah, it's a little on the quiet side. Fortunately, my good ear is my left ear, so it is nearby it. So the speed is pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, definitely got no complaints about that. Like I said, I've messaged the manufacturers of this particular piece of equipment, and hopefully they can produce a new firmware which allows me to then, you know, request it to release the front panel. We'll give it a whirl. At least being able to switch modes through the keyboard, it's a sufficient compromise, so I'm not going to have to send it back at that point. Now, what I do want to do is I want to change. We're going to do a bit of coding here. I want to change the way it's displaying that volts DC at the bottom, like this here. You can't see the mouse cursor anyway. This section here, I want to reduce the font size, and I also want to stick in the range data. So we're going to have to switch into some serious coding mode now. The biggest fun part of all this was simply getting it so that it would do the broadcast capture of the keyboard. Okay, let's see, schematic. So you have to adjust this. Alright, so you can already see some of the code there. I'm going to have to put on my proper glasses for coding, which are different to the fine work for iPhones. I should just have like a cylinder of glass around me that has different optical strength, and I can just spin it back and forth depending on what strength I want. What probes are those? These a Hersham, I think it is. Yeah, it's a kit that I get. Yeah, Hirschman is what they are. It's a nice kit. So we go to the overhead. What I like about it is that your main cable is like, you know, this stackable banana, 4mm banana, and then you have, you know, your very sharp probe tip, and then you also get with it these really nice solid alligators, and there are also some decent but oversized hook probes. You know, the ones where you can actually, you know, like a spring-loaded hook. So I use these ones for the multimeter, I use those for the power supply, and I'll swap and change as I require. Yeah, I can't do anything about the volume, unfortunately. I've either got to put in a new beeper, or yeah, that's pretty much it. What I can try to do is put a resonating chamber around the buzzer. When I was doing the manufacturing for model aircraft, there was a particular project that a low voltage alarm that I had, and I could only really get a small buzzer, but I managed to, if you get the right resonating chamber and the right frequency, if you just get everything just right, you can get a good 110, 120 decibel out of them, even though they're quite small, and it is piercingly loud. So there's a lot of parameters involved, and I see the buzzer that's in there is definitely a low output one, but if you put a little tube around it or something like that, you should be able to get a slightly better output. Pedro, not everything's alien probing. Alright, so the first thing I want to do in this code, I have to re-enable my small scale font. Okay, so let's see, font size 4, a quarter of the size, we'll assume that's... Hey, Keith McDermott. And anonymous repair. And the first thing I'm going to the next thing I'm going to do is have a look and see what it looks like at quarter size. Alright, that's probably a little bit too small, so we'll try 1/3 size. Maybe even half. I think actually that would be about right. Pretty close. Because I'm going to want to have the words, the mode, as in volts DC or volts AC, and then I'm going to want range. And there, that should fit. We'll try slightly larger. I think half just ends up being a little bit too big. Oh, actually, maybe not. Okay, we'll try with half and see what we can do. And it's not really any technically practical, useful type bit of information. The only thing can be is perhaps if the meter is cycling through trying to settle on something or trying to find a value, you can at least by knowing what range it's in, see which way it's heading. Okay. So put that there. That's the other thing this software has, is if I do need to do something on the front panel, I can just put it into pause mode, and then I can switch modes. So like I can switch it over to frequency mode now, unpause it. Okay, so frequency isn't being handled properly, but that should be 11 kilohertz, and obviously I'm not doing any sort of post-processing of that figure at this point. So when I pause it, I tell the meter that it can return back to local mode, and then I can do whatever I've got to do here. So I can go into AC volt mode. It's interesting, it's had a very similar figure there. But for the purpose of what I'm using it for, I've only got those 4 key combos at this moment. I can add more key combos, but given that we only really need DC volts, resistance, diode mode, and continuity, that's the only 4 I'm actually enabling in this situation. Anyway, we're waffling around. We need to get to the point here. Now there's going to be a fair bit of messing around. A lot of this code is long form code, and when I say long form code, what I'm meaning is that instead of trying to compact the code in some sort of smart algorithmic way, I prefer for these sort of things to just long form it, so every single combination is explicitly detailed out. And that way, if there is a particular single combination that you find is misbehaving, you can just go straight to the line that's misbehaving and then manually change it as you require without worrying about messing up the algorithm. Alright, so let's see. So we want the range information. So we've got the range information here. Now each different mode does tend to have its own type of range, so it isn't a simple consistent bit or anything like that that you can work on. The range comes back as, for volts DC, it's 0.5, 5,000, whereas if you go down to, say, current or resistor, it comes out as like 51, things like that. So that's a lot of these sort of scenarios don't lend themselves well to doing a compact algorithm solution. Jim, I hope you're being reasonably entertained here. At least something to help you out. I know you're suffering a bit there. Now the only downside here is that I'm actually going to uglify my code a little bit, and that kind of makes me cry. Hey Joshua. Now the reason why I say I was going to uglify my code is, okay, say we have, well, we've got here range 0.5. We're going to have to break it out like this. This makes me sad. I like the nice, consistent looking thing. Oh well, I'm going to overload the variable because it only goes through once. Maybe I won't. No. RS, kind of size of RS. And this is what I mean by it gets uglified. Hey, don't do that. Hey Mark, how's it going? Paul Edwards, yeah, just for Linux at the moment. If you can find, there probably will be a way, but if you can find a way to do the global key capture in Windows, then by all means. The global key capture is done in X at the moment by using grab key. And so you declare what keys you want to grab out of the queue before anything else can get a hold of it. And then when they come through, it picks it up and you get allocated that. There's probably a way to do it in Windows, I don't know. I don't really care for anything other than Linux at this point. Hey Nico. After all these years, I still don't use the proper jump. Did you ever move? Paul, do you mean like move house or something like that? Because no. I'm only actually staying in the same place. I'm just trying to buy the place. That's the problem. Good old statically declared buffer sizes. Carlos, this is C. Just plain old C. Yeah, yes. It's C with a bit of C++ bastardization probably, but I don't think this has any C++ in it. I know it's suffixed C++, but what was the reason? Oh, that was so that the STL library could compile with it without any problems. Okay, I'm just trying to double check what I'm doing here. So printf. It's a bit of a long-winded way of blanking the string. very long-winded way. Okay, so 20 characters for the mode, and then alright. How many errors? Well, no errors, that must be a mistake. Alright, so we've got an alignment problem here. This volts AC really needs to actually be up to the left. I'm trying to... how do I right pad? I think it's minus 20. Yep, that's it. Peter, yeah, this is all from scratch. I mean, look, to be fair, I have in the past written very similar programs, so it's a case of way back I wrote something from scratch and then I modified it for another version, then I modified it for another version, so I kind of tend to run on templates now, and the templates are my own existing code. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. I think I might drop... I can already see I might actually drop the whole mode and range thing and just simply have the mode with a comma and then the range. Kind of like this. And that will simplify things quite dramatically. Like that. Okay, look. Now we're in AC mode though. Okay, that's good. Now I need to generate some voltage. So I'm going to plug this into... my power supply. Just be sure I don't switch over to resistance mode. Alright, so you can see that switched up to 50 volt and that does reflect exactly what's seen on there. So that's good. So now we go and we basically destroy all this beautiful code and do this. Now I could try and say put this all in as a function or an inline. And this is there's no technical reason other than the fact that I like my code to look pretty. And sometimes you do that. Sometimes it just makes it nicer to look at nice code. Okay, so say if we go, we don't need to return anything. Make line. Actually this isn't going to work because I need variable arguments and I'm not in the mood to do variable arguments because some of them some of them want just like the one value, but then you get others, pardon me, like down here, and to do the proper prefix, like the mu symbol or the ohm symbol, I have to put in another variable argument. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. So unfortunately it's going to end up looking all trashy like this. The other way I could actually do it to make it look a bit nicer is you just pull it all into a single line like that, but it starts getting trashy in its own right too. That's okay. We'll just have to, yeah, live with it. At this point I really should be using a search replace. Skater good, of course I am. You're tripping out right now. I don't actually exist. I don't code so well when I've got gloves on. Ruins the fluidness. Okay, we're going to ignore the current AC and DC. We're going to do the ones that we know we're going to be using for right now. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough call. There are some compound single line statements that I feel are worth doing, but a lot of the time, yeah, they can end up just creating more drama than what they're worth. I just realised that's not right. Okay, you're going to wonder, why is he doing the extra variable? It's so I can put in the ohm symbol. Believe me, I hate doing it like this as much as anyone else, but you just find after a while it's the easiest way. Let's see, 5K, S, 50K, 500K, 5 meg, 50 megs. Make sure it still compiles. It does. Okay, we're going to disconnect the power supply from it because I don't want to make any accidents. I don't know what this power supply's tolerance for receiving actual voltage into the unit while it's in resistance mode is going to be like. Okay, 50 megs, that's correct. That does verify what we're looking at. Just going to flip over. Camera. It'll come up, don't panic. There we go. Alright, looks like we've got a ranging issue there, because that should be reading 19.72 kilo ohms. Instead, I'm over by 1,000, a factor of 1,000. Okay. And I can see why. Because this here should be... Ah, crikey. This is obviously long form. Q. Let's try that again. Fig jamming, eh? Oh yeah, fig jam. I know what fig jam means. Okay, so that's more like it. Let's have a look at the resistance of a fuse. Okay, 0.22. 500 ohm range, that's right. Why is it when you're looking for a resistor you can't find anything in a hurry? And 1 meg, that's about right. Okay, the only problem here is that in this 5 meg ohm, the readings are different on the screen. That should be... The scale is right, but the representation is wrong. So was that 5 or 50? It's in the 5 meg scale. Yeah, maybe, no. Okay, so it's this scale here, and it was supposed to be 4 digits. And this is what I was talking about earlier, how by having it expanded out like this, you can very easily tackle individual faults. To be fair, the counter argument on that is if the algorithm is done properly, then you'll never even have the faults to begin with. Okay, I'm just going to measure that resistor again. Basically, hey, that's a very ruined... That is cactus. Right. Wow, that's a very upset... Oh, you can't see. Ha! There's a shunt resistor here that is extremely upset. Something very big went across and basically fried out all that top cover. You should not be able to see that metal. Let's go back to what I was measuring, which is over here. Alright, so now that matches the display on the meter. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make sure that whatever I measure matches what's on the meter display. So 50.5. Now the reason why that jumped around a little bit is because it's right on the threshold between the two modes. So this is a 50,000 count multimeter, which means it will measure anything up to say 49999, and then it has to move into the next mode. So yeah, that's good. I'm just basically going around and randomly selecting bits and pieces. Yeah, that's a match. This is not exactly what you would call proper testing method, but it'll do. Okay, I keep finding the basically what a 0 ohm resistor is. Another one. Can I not find a 0 ohm resistor? There we go. 12.6, 50k. Okay, so it looks like they've got the resistance side of things going. I was going to switch screens again. I'm trying to think. Okay, so we've done voltage, we've done resistance. Continuity mode doesn't have a range, nor does diode mode. They only have, well, they just switch over to say continuity mode. Oops, wrong key combo. Yeah, okay, so it's just continuity, nothing. I suppose we could simply say set the range name to none. And same with diode mode. This does not have an inductance on it. It does have capacitance, so I suppose we could do that, but I don't normally select that. I've got a bit of an issue with the hotkey combos. Obviously I'm using C for continuity, but then what do I use for capacitance? So you can maybe F, for farad. Reluctance for inductance. But they're the opposite of each other. Okay, so we shift into diode mode. Diode none. Okay. It's not a cheap multimeter. It just doesn't have that option. It's like a $500 meter. It'd be a waste of space, in all honesty. Okay, see, now normally that diode mode you'd think is going to be problematic. If we change the resistance mode, that's for the CPU input. So this is why I like having these sort of 19 and a bit ohms, so it's not a short. Pedro, dumb suggestion, but would center justification between the two display lines be worth looking at? Yeah, it doesn't work out so well. Initially you kind of think it might, but in the end it looks kind of gnarly. That one I can definitely say from experience. Having them justified off to the left is certainly better. Okay, that shunt is basically nothing, but that's to be expected because that's a milliohm level shunt. Two probes together, yeah. So if I just touch the two probes together, we're at 0.2 ohms, and that 0.2 ohms represents the resistance of the leads, the probes, the meter itself, things like that. So once you know that, then you basically factor that out for whenever you're doing low things. We'll do the capacitance one next, because I can at least switch in by doing the pause and mode change on this. It's so sad that I've ruined my beautiful code. It's how Pernov felt when I started attacking when I started attacking open board view. Sorry, Pernov. Let's see. I think 5E9. I think this is a 5 nanofarad mode. Jim, you know, I think this one might have an offset capability. All the other ones I've had before do not. So I'll have to have a look and see if it does. I do know that this does have a programmable continuity threshold, so that's nice. And I can set that through the programming as well. 50 nanofarad, 500 nanofarad. Use the microfarads and 50 microfarads. No, broke the code. What did I do here? Oh, right, I see. Forgot to put in the leading brace. That is the one thing with coding, is you can just change one little thing, like I left out the leading brace, and it will cause this cascade of errors. Now this isn't too bad, this is only a page and a bit of errors, and they have nothing to do with what is causing it. Well, Peter, you know, after you get working code, I do like to try and make it look reasonably okay, because it's more if it's readable, then it's gonna give you half a chance of being serviceable. Okay, we'll pause, switch into capacitance mode, unpause, okay. So this is really more of a picofarad mode. Don't know how well it'd do with picofarads on a... It's actually going to be quite difficult to find a rail that is not already overloaded into the microfarad range on here. Something like this might work, because these are just data lines, and they're just AC coupled data lines, so this is probably around, like, I don't know. So 83, 82... So that would probably be listed as a 100 nanofarad capacitor, I would say. Let's have a look, see if I'm right. Flex board view. And this is a 164 board, I think. Yeah, 0.1 microfarad, so yeah, 100 nanofarad. So that's pretty good. Capacitance is very difficult to measure accurately, because when it's on the board, you've also got whatever other capacitances on the rail, and then there's the board itself, and then there's the copper traces. So coming in at 80 odd nanofarad for 100 nanofarad, that's pretty good going. Steve K, yeah, I am going to have to change that. I didn't do it with the previous one because I wasn't happy enough with the outcome. But with this particular meter, now that I've got the global switching and things like that, I'm pretty happy. Anyway, so who's got an idea now for what key code I can use to switch to capacitance mode? That's pretty rare. And that's the other thing, capacitance mode can be really slow. And that's because it first tries, whatever it's going to try, and then it sort of goes, no, we're out of range, so then it goes to the next one, and it tries that, and then it goes out of range. Okay, so what do we got there? 100 nanofarad. Try this one. This will probably go over limit, yep. Capital C, I don't want to be doing triple. I don't want to be doing triple combos. Right now, I use the Windows key, the Alt key, and then something. That's out of range. Crikey, mate. Everything's. The trouble with most of these rails is that they are decoupled to hell, so yeah, there's going to be several hundred microfarads on each rail. And even if you, like, say, get a locally decoupled one, while that might save you only 10 microfarad, you've got, like, say if it's coming off PP bus G3 hot, that's going to have a couple of hundred microfarads on it. Use square bracket. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. That's out of range. Blimey, heck, Harry. No, you're not going to be anything. No, I am finding it very difficult to find anything that I can measure that's going to be like below 50 microfarads but above 1 microfarad. Everything's just going out of range. See, Corey's recommending encoding the actual character symbols. Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that. I mean, look, in all honesty, it's not going to make a major difference. The point is, I'll just know which one I've got to press anyway. My poor code. So, like, here, so if we add a new bit to grab, so if we go F for farads. Yeah, well, F is what I was originally thinking. Okay, so we capture F, and then down here when we do get it, so yank 3. And then we can send to the multimeter. And it's that simple. K for qua for capacitor. See, control K. I think I'm going to stay with F simply because of farad. I do like the idea. K is actually, that was smart, but I think I'm going to stay with F. I mean, it doesn't really matter. People can change it to whatever they want. And people will be thinking already, why don't you just have a configuration file which will let the person then set it however they want? And yeah, you could do that, but that will be another iteration of the coding, and I probably won't even bother getting that far. But these are the things and the ways that you can expand the coding. Temperature would probably be T though, even though it's a bit naughty. Unfortunately, this meter does not have an internal temperature sensor, which means basically I'm never going to use temperatures on this, because it will accept multiple different types of thermocouples, but you have to plug them in. So I think we'll pass on that. Okay, so we'll go to diode mode, and let's now go to capacitance. There we go, switched into capacitance. It's continuity, diode, resistance. The reason why the resistance takes a while to come up is because when I tell it to switch, it immediately does a measurement, and of course it's going in auto range mode, so it's got to go through all the different ranges before it finally comes back and gives me the data I want. Let's see, what else was there? Voltage was the last one, and the same with the voltage. Alright, well, that's pretty much that. That's done. Okay, yep. Time to fix some MacBooks. What do you use to render the GUI? It's just done using SDL2. So it's lightweight, it's simple, it does the job. Okay, I've got this machine here that I've realised I'd forgotten about, which is very bad of me. Right, this is an old one too. This is a return, but it's not a return from the original fault. The machine works though. No, the trackpad is distinctly not working. Well, something's really funky with this one. No, I don't fix anything of Lewis's. Well, something's really misbehaving here. And what's curious is that it's responding very quickly to the power button, but then it might be simply because it's in the login screen mode. Alright. Just realised I do not have the meter information up here. Do I have the meter running? No, I don't. Cancel. I'm seriously thinking I'll just go back to the black background. Or maybe find a way to make it partially transparent. How much does 15 minutes of my time cost? About 40 bucks. Depends what you're using it for too. Why are you doing this to me? Hey, Joshua Hall. Oh, that explains everything. Rename multimeter. Rename. Okay. Filters. I might see if I can drop the opacity. No, that's the wrong direction. I can't. I can't seem to be able to make it so that the background itself is slightly transparent. Similarity, smoothness, key color spill reduction, contrast. Kind of blowing it out of control there. Oh, way too much. Yeah, looks like I can't do what I want to do. Oh well. Martin, if you go and you should be able to just set in the DPI, but it should actually pick that up. What aspects are you finding aren't being picked up by the Retina screen? Because as far as I know, that was resolved quite some time ago. Yeah, I've got a chroma key going there, but kind of wondering whether I'll just ditch it. Well, we'll leave it for now. There's a pretty active meter. Okay, let's get on with the repair. Okay, job 401. Cull that brightness back. I've got to keep adjusting the brightness because the overhead camera just has its own fantasy idea of what it thinks is the right brightness, even though it is on automatic. And even if I turn it off automatic, I still have to manage it anyway. Okay, we've got a missing screw there. So, keyboard and trackpad are not working. No, but you can what? You can feel the force touch vibrate. What? I did not think these had force touch vibrate, did they? Have I missed something obvious in the last goodness knows how long? I thought the force touch vibrate, as it were, was more just a case of it, the click. Oh well, there is such a thing. That's amusing to me. And this is a 2015, by the way. 2015 A1502, so they are good machines. Yeah, I just wasn't aware of there being a force touch vibrate. Okay, so this battery has been replaced. Which is always now making me think twice. And I believe I would have been the one to replace. The speakers have also been replaced. It's coming back to me now. Yeah, like I said, I think the force touch is just simply a case of the button click itself. Yeah, see, there's no button click at all on that. Oh, but wait, these ones I don't think have the button click. Yeah. This is how silly you can feel at times when doing repairs, when you don't even know the fundamental things like that. Okay, so force touch is on there. Could be a bad cable. Cable certainly looks like it's seen better days. I'm really not a fan of these cables. The fact that they've got the extra length in them, which means you have to sort of Z-bend them. And there's a bit of junk and stuff over here. Something's actually flared. It looks like something's gone. Add the color correction effects filter and set the opacity filter to around 60. Okay, let's have a look. Filters plus color correction. Okay. What'd you say? Opacity to 60. That's changing the whole lot. I just want the background, because I currently have a chroma key to knock out the black. Oh, unless you mean select color black. Okay. Oops. Nope, that's no good. Pardon me. Yeah, we won't mess with it for now. I'll play around with it afterwards. Yeah, anyway, let's have a look at that where I thought I saw a mark. Or is it just junk? No, this here, and there's, what's that? Okay, that's a bit of junk. But that there just kind of looks a little bit like some sort of vapor mark. It could have been from the very original one. Then I swore I ultrasonic this at one point. Yeah, now we need light on the... we'll just take it out. Have a look, inspect it properly. It's been a few months and there is new dust in here, so anything could have happened. Come on, come on. I would certainly say about 90% chance it's just going to be that cable was given up. But as I was saying before, I do wish there was a proper guaranteed way of putting the bend into them without risking causing a kink. Yeah, Barry, this is a return job. Different fault from what it originally came in with. It's still a return job nonetheless. And it was several months ago. First glance, nothing's jumping out. So now we'll have a better look under the microscope. It looks like there's been some activity. Now I know normally, yeah, they are saying keyboard issue, so you'd normally go looking for around the keyboard area, but I do prefer to just give it a good look over before you start focusing on a given area. $49.24. Ah, Mark, just dodgy keyboard and trackpad behavior. Suspecting it's going to be the cable, but I do want to take the opportunity while it's here to give it a visual inspection before I sort of focus down on just the cable. It's very interesting that they've got these flare marks going on here. A little bit of carbon deposit, like something caught alight. But then again, it's all over the place, so it may be something else that's causing it. Well, most likely. Otherwise we'd have a board that's completely on fire or something. There's no shortage of these hairs. The roach leg. Okay, there's one pin there and it's got a teeny tiny amount, but I think it's just a speck of trash. I don't think it's anything actually meaningful. Yeah, it's just a speck of trash. It just bounced right off it. It's fine. Alright, now that's looking pretty good. We'll try a new cable and see how it behaves. Now I know some people are going to go, well, you kind of wasted 20-30 minutes of your time there doing something that was obviously not going to be the case. But so you don't know that. You don't know 100% that that is definitely going to be the cause. The connector that had the smoky effects around it, that was the keyboard backlight. Alright, well, just put it back in. By the way, how's the audio service been tonight? Still good as well? Like last night it was behaving throughout the course. So I just want to check that it was behaving again tonight. It seems what I have to do is firstly make sure I have a fresh set of batteries that were freshly charged. And that at least eliminates that possible issue. And then with the receiver mounted very close, it seems to be fine. And the keyboard backlight connector is fine as well, so it's not an actual burning issue or anything like that. It's something else causing that similar looking effect. Come now. I mean, there is one other possibility, or two other possibilities. One is that the keyboard is faulty. It's got some liquid in it or something. The second one is that the trackpad's faulty. The same sort of thing, maybe liquid in it. But the keyboard, the trackpad flex is such a common fault on these that you pretty much go for that first. Oh, can I get over? So the person, maybe they had their hair cut or something when they were using it. Or maybe they were just tearing their hair out when it wasn't working. That I can appreciate. No, I don't think I mean, it's... You wouldn't want to send your whole computer back to me on a user. It definitely is misbehaving. Like when I was trying to use it and shut it down, it was being intermittent as hell. So, no, it's a legit fault. No. I've got plenty of keyboard screws now. I think there's quite a few in there. There's about 2,000 or 3,000 keyboard screws in there. Just in case. Oh, come on. Surely I've got a... Well, where's the battery in there? I can't wait to get a proper... Hey, there we go. Can't wait to get a proper workshop. Oh, it's going to be such a blessing. And then I can go on glorious shopping sprees for lots of storage containers. Oh yeah, and these are all feet for the MacBooks. What I try to do now is when most of these machines, when they come in, these 1466, 1502, 1398, all that sort of stuff. Most of them have broken feet, so I just do it as a bit of a freebie to put new feet on the computers for people. Just, yeah, a nice thing to do for people. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. By the way, if you want to have a look at the source code for that multimeter, it's now up on GitHub. Can't get this out. That's funny enough, I don't have a foot fetish. We're not going to bend it initially. We're just going to make sure it actually works initially. Oh, look at this. It's like, what, half an inch too long. No one wants that. It's complete waste. So what's the point? And you can sort of try and just push it down, but it never works. You do need to properly bend them. Trouble is, I don't know how to properly bend them. Someone should make a jig for that. Oh, son of a gun, I left my stick upstairs. Come on, tell me I've got a spare one down here. Yay, I do. It's a slower booting one, but it'll work. Pull can't. What? That's because it's an HDMI pull port. Steve K, please don't tell me that. I've got to have hope that this next iteration of my workshop is actually going to be a good one. You're trying to dash my hopes before I even get there. Speaking of which, the bank did call to say that the loan has been pre-approved, so it's a good start. Okay. Bring the power supply up. Just going to add my power supply window. Which is obviously not that one. CMPU, okay. Yep, alright. But I've still got to send them a whole bunch of data. Okay, in order for MacBooks to work with power, you have to kind of plug the damn things in. Alright, let's try that again, shall we? Yeah, one of the fun things I'm having with the bank at the moment is that they want proof that my tax debt is zero, I mean, which it is. And the thing is, they want that information from my accountant. But it's like, I am my own accountant. And so they sort of like pause for a moment because they sort of think to themselves, what's to stop him scamming us with some sort of bodgy data? And it's like, well, nothing. but you're supposed to trust me. You know, this is, I submit this data to the tax department. Here is a tax report. You're going to believe me or you're not? And they're like, we don't think we want to believe you. And then they asked for something else, which I actually don't understand. They wanted like a client something list. It's not something that the Commonwealth Bank asked me for, so I'm a little bit confused. I asked for a clarification on what data they were after. I don't know whether they maybe meant if I had, say, what do you call it, accounts with other suppliers. Like maybe, say, with Element 14, I have an account and it could be like 10,000 in the red. Yeah, looking like it's probably just the cable, because this is now behaving very nicely. Yeah, there's no dramas here. I'm not getting any... Okay, why is it doing that? I really want to put the bottom plate on this. I'm just going to crimp that cable. Well, they already know I've got an income. I mean, I've already given them all my tax returns and my quarterly statements, all that sort of stuff. They've already got them. But they, like I said, when they brought up this client thing, it's like, I don't know what you mean by that. Hopefully they can give me a clarification tomorrow, and then I can just quickly get the data to them, which most likely, by the sounds of it, if I'm guessing what I'm guessing, is probably going to be nothing. Alright, so that keyboard works fine, there's no dramas there. I'm a little worried about that trackpad. Now the question is, okay, how can you adjust the force touch on this? I think I can just feel a little bit of kickback, but it really feels like something else is going on here. It's almost like it's stuck down. Yeah, see, it's doing something with that trackpad, which is going to suck because it means I'm going to have to take that keyboard out. It's not even an employee list or anything. So yeah, when I click on the trackpad, it comes up and says no available windows. Okay, if I tap lightly, it seems to be okay. Okay, I can feel the firm click. Click, then press firmly for quick look. Okay, so it's got this force click haptic feedback thing. I guess that's what might be confusing me. Let's have a look. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's a special feature. Okay, drag works fine. .30 frames per second seems to be okay. Keyboard's already been tested. Hey, Untitled, you missed out on all the fun, buddy. It's certainly not very strong, that kickback. I don't know if it's supposed to be really strong, or you can barely feel it. Force click and haptic feedback. Click, then press family for quick look. Okay, yeah, that's definitely not well. Yeah. It just doesn't really sort of have that satisfying click feel in it. But I'm sooner going to blame that trackpad than anything else. Probably doesn't help that, because I'm holding the edge of it, it kind of messes with my feel. Interesting. It must hold that data in the EFI or something, because I just realized I'm booting from my test drive, but it had all those settings on it, so I'm a little bit confused about that. Guess we'll find out when I boot again. Just going to put their drive back in. But yeah, I'd really like to know how other people are bending these particular cables, because I have a suspicion that when I bent this one originally, I probably over kinked it, and I didn't appreciate that. So it's like, how do you get the radius on it but also get the Z bend in there? Yeah. No, the customer hard drive is fine. I only just installed it. Like put it back in now. And yeah, so I don't want to push that down. Yeah, I'm thinking of resetting the NVRAM. Okay, now I'm going to, because this is going to boot to the customer's interface, I'm obviously not going to show that. This is going to be fun though. Let's see. Command option P. Oh, crikey. Okay, use the chest pull. Command option. Doesn't seem like it launched. That's better. Come on, bong again. Thank you. I just realised I don't even know what their password is. Well, I guess that's why I've got a job system, so I can find out. Degusto, no, we most certainly do not get snow here. It'd be lovely if we did, but we definitely don't. We do get summer snow, funnily enough. It's called rain, but that's about it. Well, at least it's letting me log in this time. Yeah, it looks like they got hot corners active on this too. Hot corners drive me insane. Particularly as a person who tests things. I think for a while, there was one computer I had and I just went insane trying to find out what the heck was going on. Because I'd just replaced a whole bunch of stuff for the person, the keyboard. It's like a 1707 or 1706 or something like that. And the hot corners in every corner, and they would shut down. They would log out. So you go to the corner, it would log out. And I thought, what is going on? Okay, looks like. I think maybe I was actually going backwards here. Where it has the click with light, medium, and firm, I don't think that refers to the strength of the click, but rather refers to how much pressure you have to apply for the click to happen. It was actually about 6 months ago now, Barry, maybe even more. Yeah, I think the click thing, it's actually how much you have to press, not how strong the click is. Alright, so I'm going to leave their settings as is. Because it feels fine now. Funny how when you know the way it's supposed to behave or what you're trying to, how it should be behaving, all of a sudden it can make it feel like, oh yeah, it is actually working. Everything else seems to be just fine. Shut down. Yep, shut that down. Put this back together, so it's just the cable. Freezing rain, I'd say probably things like black ice and sleet are the things that I really find most unpleasant. Snow at least, stays out of your clothing for a little while. But you go walking around in sleet and black ice on the ground, it's no fun at all. And you usually end up with that stuff where it's not cold enough, of course, to properly freeze. You have snow. Most of the time I encountered that when I was in South Africa, in Johannesburg. So it's cold and it's high altitude, but it's not really snow area. Okay, battery's disconnected. We're just putting everything back together. But yeah, I need to work out how to properly bend that cable. Oh dear, the Canberrians are talking to each other. Oh, whoops, overhead. There we go. The first time I encountered black ice was when I was driving to the airport in Johannesburg in my BMW, and all of a sudden the console started beeping at me and complaining, and up in the little LED bar, text bar, it just came up, "Blook ice." And I was like, what the heck's blook ice? Yeah, it worked out it was black ice. Fortunately, it was just a warning, as opposed to you are definitely running on black ice. Because you don't need the car to tell you that. You can just tell by the way the fact that you're not staying on the road and you're sliding everywhere with no control. Hey, Jose. Alrighty, yeah, so how to properly bend that flex. I'm waiting for some good suggestions here. Yeah, Pedro, that's probably what they should write. Prepare to die. It wasn't so much that the car could detect it, it was just the car sort of predicted that the conditions were about right for black ice. So I'd imagine they probably detect the humidity and detect the temperature and then, you know, work it out from that. That was on my E36 series 320. That was a nice car. I actually wanted another one, but they're so old now it wouldn't be worth it. Just roll it in naturally. Morpheus, see, now what do you mean by that? Because, like, if I just push down on this, that's, you know, you can't really... See, if I do that, it's going to crimp up high. Blow dry the screwdriver and lay it over it. That's a different suggestion. The tip of the flux radius might be properly sized. Okay, so basically what you're suggesting is that find something that has a reasonable, like a radius like this, and then like run that. Is this what you're suggesting? I'm guessing it is. Now the question is, do you need heat? And if you need heat, why? There might be a... yeah, that radius should actually be okay. Wrong side. What do you mean wrong side? Other side. What do you mean, like here? Wait. Okay, so this here, as far as I know, it should first... it's like a Z bend. The bare end. Oh, okay, so you're saying that you don't want to have a... you want this to be flat, and you want that to have the kink. You want the trackpad side to be the kink. Hey, Tom Love. Use the T3 where use the shaft to push the ribbon down into the gap. You mean down here? See, T3, I've got a T4, that'll do. Like I said, it's more a case of I'm curious to see how you guys do it, because I've always felt it was a bit of a dodgy play. Where is my T4? I had my T4 earlier today. 1PR, TX6. Someone stole my T4. Why would anyone steal my T4 from me? Who could have stolen my T4? I'm the only one that works here. Well, they're all got similar shafts. Ah, there it is. T4. The other question is, though, how do you even get that, like... you know, you're trying to push that in. You don't get a very good clearance. That's gonna use up way too much space. Fair baby got the T4. Quite probably. Like if I look at original 2015s, they don't have quite that sort of severity. Logic board end. Wait, what? You're talking about over here? No, that's it. Someone give me a link. Someone give me a YouTube link. Someone do it on YouTube so I can then see it. I can understand what you're saying. Maybe you're talking about, and given that there's a meshing on the flex there, I tend to believe you. See how there's this mesh here? It's a strengthening, so I'm imagining you like drive it down into there. Yeah, these are definitely longer than the originals. They're longer by about 3 or 4 millimeters at least. Place it on a heat pad to make it all flexible. I don't know if it actually will become much more flexible. Pliable, flexible, you know. No, it's not the battery. The cable's a different longer. I don't know if I've got an original 2015 around here somewhere. This is not an original. This is another one of the ones that are slightly longer. But that's what you get when you order a 2015 replacement trackpad cable. This is what you get. The numbers match up, but the cables are different. I could imagine if you push down an area in here and then push down an area in there, it will... yeah. Yeah. Flippin' annoying. Let's see, flatten this one out and see if it's the same. What about below the battery? Let's see. You can't do that because the battery's already bonded in. Yeah, you can't do it because the battery's already glued in. Above and below. The above and below thing is usually, I thought, the year difference though. Yeah, so they're the same length. The earlier models go under, the 2015 goes over. Look, that's 20 millimeters too long. Sheesh. But you are actually correct in the sense that this probably would be a better fit if it went under. So yeah. What I do is disconnect the battery, use a T3 to roll the cable into the gap between the logic board and the battery. This is the gap here that you're talking about. If you got to, just bend one in the hell of a yeah, I might just have to... The trouble is you're still going to get a pretty serious kink point at some point. Get out the hot glue. Yeah, because these cables do not enjoy being crimped like that. It's like if you go down into here, you can feel it doesn't want to do that. Okay, what I'm going to think is we'll radius it over here. Yeah. You can just slide it in. You could try to go underneath actually. Yeah, you actually have a point there. You probably could just slide in. The only trouble is I've got an adhesive on the back. But typically, yeah, I don't like my chances of that, to be honest. And I can't really do it that way. Just don't bend fast and hard and fast. Unfortunately, I can't shorten it at all. No. Okay, what we're going to do is the first thing is we'll put a radius on this. And then we'll radius it back. which is actually surprisingly tricky. Yeah, now we're getting goddamn offsets. Hey Zentech. That's the other way, yeah, you could do a whole series of little bends. Kind of. I just realised the corner of my bench here, though you can't see it, is actually a pretty good radius. I should just email Lewis and beg him for some guidance. And then he will simply say to me, fix my Linux. And I'll be like, ha ha ha, suck eggs and die, Lewis. Okay, we're gonna have to do a bit of radiusing here as well. Then again, this might actually just fit with the that will probably fit under the... actually no, I really do need to radius that. Not a lot, but just enough to stop it from, like when you put the plate down, stop it from all of a sudden just, crimping. No, the battery is perfectly flat. The battery is in good condition. It's actually comparatively new, to be honest. It's kind of like when you're building metal frameworks, assemblies and all that, and you deliberately put in radiuses lest you end up with a assembly which decides to rapidly fracture. Damn it. Okay. Not perfect, but it might be okay. Hey, bikes, cars and guns. Okay, we'll just put that there so that I can see what's going on, but you can't. Oh, Zentech, you got a job at a repair shop. Congratulations. I wouldn't say that my videos are educational, but I'm happy to hear that I might have been somewhat useful to you. Okay, trackpad still works, touch still works. Actually, I might boot into my system. Yeah, I don't seem to have the feedback again. The haptic feedback is gone on me. Or at least it feels very flat still. And yeah, there was no bonging. Was there? And someone's obstructing the... There we go. Yeah, the pixels on the readout are the same thing that, like, when Lewis complains about the flickering with his OBS, it's the same thing. When the Windows overlay the X rendering stack, it because the windows are occluded, it doesn't bother rendering that portion. Oh, what? This actually takes a surprisingly long time to boot still. Hey, Gunslinger. One. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I don't really produce a lot of information, in all honesty. Or at least I don't feel like I do. It's more, I'm just here just to waffle on. But, I mean, I might give some in programming and whatnot, but or Linux, but not much more than that, I would say. No, this is an entirely different machine. This is a 1502. I know you can't really tell because the brightness is blown right out. Why don't you use a separate desktop space for OBS? I do. It's on the side here, but the windows, because they pop up in random locations a lot of the time, because I haven't explicitly set them to come up in a specific spot when I launch them, I forget to move them across. You really can't feel that. I don't know if it's my gloves or what. No, I've actually got three. I've got three screens, but the trouble is, see, again, this is the rendering issue with OBS and X, is that you have to have it running on the visible desktop. If I move these, well, I'll demonstrate. If I shift them to another desktop, a virtual desktop, then there you go. So I'll go send it to workspace 2. There you go. See, straight away it disappears. So for it to appear in OBS, it has to appear on somewhere physically on the screen. So I mean, I've got, on this system I've only got 2 desktops, but on my workstation I've got 10 virtual desktops. It's a case of X's optimization in rendering is causing the problem. Sayed, with your 1502, there could be several reasons why it's not charging. Unfortunately, I can't really tell you what they will be. Yeah, I'm going to have to consult with the person regarding the level of click, because it is extremely subtle, if at all, there. 1:30 AM, crikey. Hey Gary, thanks for letting me know. I should be going to bed. We'll do the keyboard test again. Another nice piece of software that I'm glad I wrote. Did a quick demo video on the opacity of the black background. Seems to work. Oh, okay, thanks Nikidinet. Actually, do you want to just email that to me, Nikidinet? See, left, escape, keyboard's fine. Yeah, I just can't feel anything. I don't know whether it's because there's junk in here, because obviously if the actual plate is jammed against something, it's probably going to inhibit that tactile effect. If I touch lightly, I can pick it up, but it's pretty marginal. I'll have to look at the job. Let's see what was the previous job code. Okay, just going to look up the previous job code. It was a long time ago. Certainly the cable was faulty. Let's see. Battery replaced, daughterboard replaced. Trackpad was not replaced. Okay. Mr. Nihill, welcome. Too bad I'm leaving soon since you've turned up. Small green display, same size as the yellow. I'm going to guess it's probably junk, because many a time, and I can see there's around the rim here, there is a lot of like residues. Just scroll in. Yeah, you can see it's butted up quite tightly against it, so it's entirely possible that all of this stuff is inhibiting the click or the tactile response. Taptic engine, yeah. So I'd say that's probably what's inducing it. I could try and shuck out the battery, which is really not fun. Yeah, I could try shuck out the battery, clear out the trackpad, all this stuff, so that it runs free again. Or I can try and actually clear out that crud directly. I'll see if I can fit the Grim Reaper down there. I think even the Reaper is going to be a little bit thick for it, because that's a very fine gap, that is. I'm going to guess it's about half the thickness of the Reaper. Soak it in alcohol. The only trouble with that, of course, will just go down into the battery area. Oh, actually no, the Reaper's going in. The Reaper is in. Yep. Since I know you're all disgusting creatures, I'm going to let you share the experience. I wouldn't have thought the reefer would have fit in there, but it did. Call me Dr. Mac Popper. So how many people are losing their lunch right now? But this is pretty normal, yeah. This is human, typical human, yeah. There's nothing unusual here. Everybody's gonna have this in their machines after a while. So I don't want to be hearing trash talk, because this is pretty damn normal. I do like this reaper blade. Okay, Nikita, I appreciate that. That'd be good. Thanks. It's seriously quite caked here, as in it's difficult to even get it out. I have to do it in short blocks because otherwise I kind of lose the orientation of the blade and I start just jamming against the parallels. I don't think there is anything underneath these usually. Certainly not. Oh man, I've got more risk to the fact that the bottom plate just shifted on me. There is something down there. But you can see that it's actually starting to move now. by design, it's not unusual that that happens, because if you do look at any of the MacBook trackpads, the trackpad is very slightly recessed relative to the palm rest. So as you move back and forth like that, you're swiping all that stuff into the grooves. Hey, Gadgets Clink. Good, thank you. Whereabouts in India are you? The speaker's louder now too. Just a load of furphy. Obviously I didn't do anything to the speakers, but it is funny how sometimes when you clean one part of a system, then the people who take the machine back all of a sudden think that the other parts of the system are working much better now and all that. It's just because of the improved perception. Hey, Greg Bitto. 25 hit points bonus. I should go play what is it? Dota 2. Oh yeah. Now I can actually feel it. Yeah, you go click, click. Lovely. Definitely feel it. And I can actually feel the difference between light, medium, and firm. Yep. That was probably the best part of the whole night. Scraping out that stuff. Oh, Ian, sorry you missed out. It's now got that lightness, but you can still feel it. Like even through the gloves, I can still feel it. Yeah, it's certainly much better now. Yeah, everything works better in a car after an oil change. Absolutely, it does. Yes. Oh, yeah. Alright, so that's it. That one fixed. So basically, the cable was faulty. The cable did have to be replaced, but that whole click issue was simply because the perimeter of it had no room to vibrate in. It was essentially it was being fully damped. A perfect speaker system to stop vibrations. Bob, it was either that or I had to replace the trackpad, so that was an easier option for sure for me. It was kind of like if you had foam rubber between something that's vibrating and a solid chassis. Same effect. Okay, I'm just going to boot to their system to confirm. I swear it's louder. I swear the speaker is louder now. I know technically it's not, but it's just that perception thing. On-stage lighting. Don't often get to the live stream. I was going to say something about your microphone pack. You should do what we do in show business and make a simple pouch for it to stop falling out. Yeah, good idea on-stage lighting. What I did do tonight is I took this metal spring off and I crushed it down a bit more so it does fit a little more sturdy against the hem of my shorts. But I know over time it's just going to, it's get loose again. So yeah, I'll try and create a pouch, as you say. Swap it with the one in the meter. Wait, what? Oh, this right, yeah. I get you now. I was wondering for a second what you were talking about, and then it dawned on me. Yeah, in the customer's machine now, I can feel it definitely is clicking good now. Alright, I'm repeating myself here. It's okay. We are done. Except for the fact I have to screw everything back in. Yeah, which means I really need to shut the damn thing down. Damn it. I think it's a combination of the workshop has a lot of RF or EMI, take your pick what you want to call it. And also I think just the units themselves, the Bluetooth module just doesn't seem to be as strong as it should be. Hey Catherine, just flip it over, overhead. Yeah, Catherine, we're running the new multimeter now, the new multimeter software. And we can do lovely things, like we can change our mode on the fly. So, you know, change the resistance, diode mode, continuity mode, capacitance mode, voltage mode. It works great. I still would like the front panel to be active because there are many times when I've got two hands down or a hand down here trying to hold on to something, and it's easy for me to just reach up and press the front panel. But it's a workable compromise for now. And we sort of cleaned up the output a little bit, improved it, so I'm happy about that too. And if you do want to see what the software is like, it's available on GitHub already. And yes, I am aware there are a lot of modifications I can make to improve it, to add functionality, all that sort of thing. But I'll get around to it in good time. I don't generally post my code up on GitHub for people to submit pull requests or anything like that. Primarily, I put it up there simply so that other people can have a copy. I'm not asking people to work on it and submit patches to me or anything. Does it come with warranty? Absolutely not. The only tricky thing when it comes to this meter on Linux is due to the CP210 USB driver. Currently the Linux kernel does not recognize this meter, the vendor ID, product ID combination, as belonging to this particular driver, the CP210. So I had to add that code pair into it, recompile it, and then it was fine. So it's just a bit of a nuisance when you get these manufacturers that I could have sworn I was missing one. Well, yeah, it's just a bit of a nuisance when they use these chipsets, but due to the way they report them, it's not generic, and so things like Linux will not pick it up. It'd be better if it was just like they use an FT232 in there, and Linux straight away goes, oh, okay, we've got an FT232, let's connect a serial port to it, give it a USB TTY. But no, instead you have to go and compile a damn kernel. Yeah, I could have sworn I was just missing one screw as well. I don't know what happened. Unless I took one, I thought I took one out, but actually hadn't. And now that one there is semi-jammed in there. And now it's out. I do love these magnet combos. These are the wrong. These are 1466 ones. I really need to put 1502 screws in there. The 1502 screws are slightly longer than the 1466s. Oh, Yeah, forgetting on the floor, I've got the large magnetic bars for that. They're not as strong as the Neo magnets, but they do cover the greater area, of course. Okay, that's in. We'll do the rattle test once I finish putting it together. That is, you rotate the whole laptop around, see if you can hear tinker, 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 tinker. Use one of the, except they're keyboard screws, they're not going to work. Definitely can't hear anything. At least they're not spinning hard drives, so you can do this sort of thing, no trouble. Okay, so that one's fixed. Excellent. Alright, that's the end of the night for me. We've done quite a lot tonight, and it is, crikey, it's almost 2 in the morning. Definitely time for me to get the hell out of here. So, once again, thank you all for dropping in. Jim, you're probably asleep by now, but once again, Jim, thank you for the Rode Combination Wireless Go set, which is this thing here. This is sent in by one of our viewers, and it was sent in originally to be a replacement for the system that I'm wearing right now, but we solved that problem. But this will be useful for when I get another camera set up and I want to be able to walk away from the camera, like a DVR type camera, walk away from it but still have good audio. And this will be very much the trick for that. So thank you again for that, Jim. Alright, I'm out of here. You all take care. I'll see you next time, whenever that may be. We've got New Year's coming up tomorrow, so I don't know. Maybe I'll find something. Maybe someone will get drunk and drop their MacBook and need me to fix it in a hurry. You never know. Until then, you all take care. I'll see you later.